Welcome to Faith Encouraged. I'm Father Barnabas Powell, and the Orthodox Christian faith is meant to make you by grace what Christ is by nature. Being Orthodox on purpose takes focus and attentiveness, and we pray these homilies will help you do just that. Here's today's homily.
My mama was a gracious Southern lady, and born in 1917, right at the beginning of World War I. And she and my grandfather went through the Depression as husband and wife. And my grandmother knew how to cook. Good Southern lady, she knew how to cook. And she would share her recipes with the other ladies in the neighborhood. And there was one particular recipe that all of us were just dying to find out more about, because there was a cake that was made for Christmas. You got to understand, everything Mama did for Christmas celebration. You didn't get anything for your birthday. If you had an anniversary, you didn't get anything for your anniversary. You didn't get anything for, nothing happened for Thanksgiving. Everything was all rolled into Christmas. It was. And Mama would be cooking for a week before Christmas Day, so for us to come over there and have Christmas dinner. And she had this horribly ugly coconut cake. Everybody else thought it was beautiful. I could actually feel my skin crawl when she brought it out. I'm not a big coconut fan. It's got to be the texture. But anyway, but she had this, and then she had a strawberry cake that she made that was just absolutely wonderful. But the pièce de résistance, the ones that all of us kids sitting at the kiddie table were just gaga over, was the fudge chocolate cake. We would wolf down our meals just to be the first one to get to the cake so you could eat the icing that had run down the side there. It was absolutely the height of it. And Mama made, if I say the word pone, do you know what a pone is? You don't know what a pone is? It's a pone of cake. It's a layer of cake. It's a pone. That's what a cornbread is. Y'all know English, don't you, for heaven's sake? But so Mama had this, and she made the pones real thin. So like there were 8, 10, 12 layers of this cake. And when she brought the pones out and stacked them up there, and they'd sat up there, and they were thin enough to where they would crack open. And when she poured the fudge icing on the top, it ran down into the pones of the cake down in the center. I'm telling you, it'd make your tongue beat your head to death trying to get to it. And everyone wanted the recipe for the icing, and the pones were simple, but everybody wanted a recipe for the fudge icing. And Mama would be happy to give it out to you. And that woman, to this day, we can't reproduce it because she always left out one ingredient. On purpose, so that nobody could make her icing like she did. And she succeeded. She took it to the grave. I'm going to have a talk with her later because I miss that cake. That's what happens, folks, when you seem like you have all of the ingredients and yet you're missing one vital ingredient. It just doesn't turn out well. It doesn't turn out well. And in our gospel lesson this morning, I want us to focus on some things that are happening here in our gospel lesson. This is the Sunday of St. John Climacus, St. John of the Ladder. And if you've ever seen that icon of St. John of the Ladder, it has a ladder from earth up to heaven, and at the end of the ladder, at the top of the ladder, there is Jesus with his arms open, and there are monks that are struggling to climb the ladder up to God, and the demons are there trying to pull them off the ladder, and the angels are trying to help them up the ladder. And it was just this whole book of the ladder of divine ascent. If you ever get a chance to read it, I recommend it to you highly. St. John did a wonderful job in helping us get all of the ingredients necessary to climb the ladder from earth to heaven well. But if you're missing an ingredient, it can cause a problem. And this morning, The story of our young man who was gripped by this deaf and dumb spirit is the struggle of the missing ingredient. Jesus Christ is there teaching the people, and this man brings his son. Lord, I'm bringing you my son. Your disciples couldn't do anything for him. They had been praying. Of course, Jesus had been doing what he normally does. He went off and he went to pray by himself. And while he was gone, this man brought this boy to the disciples, and the disciples of Jesus couldn't do it. And they were confused because they had been sent out before by the Lord and were able to heal the sick and raise the dead and proclaim the gospel. But they couldn't do anything with this boy. So the man brings him to Jesus, and he says to Jesus, Lord, please help me. My son is very ill. He's possessed by a deaf and dumb spirit, and this spirit's trying to kill him, throwing him in the fire and throwing him in the water. And Jesus responds in a very weird way to this dad, almost like he was trying to make a point. He looks at this suffering father and this suffering son and says, oh, you faithless generation, how long am I going to put up with you? How long am I going to be with you? I'm sorry? Why did you say that, Lord? It gets worse. All of a sudden, Jesus comes and the demon, and the boy sees him, and the demon starts thrashing about and throwing him around, and he's rolling on the ground and frothing at the mouth. And the Lord asks the dad, hey, son, how long has your son been like this? So, for years. Throws him in the fire, throws him in the water, trying to destroy him. And if you can do anything, would you please do something? If I can. All things are possible to them who believe. Again, a very strange response to this suffering dad. But then we get to the missing ingredient. The father cries out, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we're very good at saying we believe in something. We're very good at quickly proclaiming, oh yes, I believe in Jesus. Oh yes, I believe in the faith. Oh yes, I believe in God. I believe. I never will forget, I had one lady come to me, she said, yes, Father, I do believe, but I don't worship. Well, then, sweetie, with all due respect, you actually don't believe. How can you say that? You prove it to me. The father cries out, I believe, help my unbelief. The missing ingredient in this boy's healing is the pressure and pain of the difficulty of the situation to finally get the father to admit he needs true help and he needs help with his faith. Jesus was trying to heal more than just this boy. He was trying to heal the father as well. But it was a spiritual healing because there was a spiritual deficit, a missing ingredient in the father's life that was constantly tormenting him so that he is stuck in this place of suffering. I want you to think for a moment about your own life. In every life that we live, we have suffering. We have bad things that happen to us. Tragic things that happen to us. Losses, disappointments, mistakes that we make that have horrible consequences. Choices that we make that lead us down the wrong path. Every one of us have those places in our lives. And the pain that comes from those moments, that moment of tragedy, that moment of betrayal, that moment of loss, that moment of failure, the pain that comes there can take us in one of two directions. It can either take us to a constant state of self-gratification or trying to defend myself. Oh, well, you just don't understand. I had someone a few weeks ago come up to me and say, Father, you've made me mad. You've offended me. You've let me down. And you know what my first response was? Well, the first response that I wanted the first response that I wanted to do. I finally now got to the point where I've actually figured out if I'll just shut up, things might go better. But my first desire that rose up inside of me was to defend myself. Oh, you don't understand. Oh, I didn't mean it the way you thought I meant it. I had all kinds of a flood of words and ideas and thoughts that come. I need to defend myself. I need to explain myself. I need to make sure that this person understands that I'm really not in the wrong. Amazing how quickly, in a moment just like that, the unnatural desire in a heart that has the missing ingredient is to defend myself, or to explain myself, or to excuse myself, or to say it's not really my fault. It was that woman you gave me, Lord. It's been going on a long time. And the missing ingredient is not, I believe. But the missing ingredient is for when your life brings you to these spots in your life where you're suffering and you're in pain, let it not take you to the self-defense mode. Let it take you to the second righteous path of saying, Lord, help my unbelief. To react with humility, to react with a confession of your own weakness, the fact that you've come to the end of yourself. You're suffering, you're in pain, you're disappointed, you're scared, you don't know what to do. Instead of descending into the constant spiral of revisiting this pain over and over and over again in your life and allowing that pain to poison all of the relationships around you, find the missing ingredient of humility and confession. Admit you've come to the end of yourself and you need God's help. Stop being so prideful and ignorantly self-centered that you think I can pull myself up by my own bootstraps. Get to this place where this father came. Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. The Sunday of St. John of the Ladder in Great Lent invites us to the hard work of practicing our faith and not just allowing it to be a cultural decoration or a little hobby in the back of our heads, but actually embrace it. Instead of stopping by saying, I believe, have the courage to find that missing ingredient and add, Lord, help my unbelief. Because all of us suffer from it. All of us have that spot where we might say we believe, but we don't live like we do. On this Sunday of St. John Climacus, climb the ladder to Christ well by finding this missing ingredient and having the courage to be humble and repentant. Amen.
Thank you so much for watching. I pray this was a blessing to you. If it is a blessing to you, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share these videos. It really does help us a great deal. Speaking of helping us, if you'd like to support this media outreach, go to our Patreon site at Faith Encouraged on patreon.com. You can also visit us at our website at faithencouraged.org and write me at frbarnabas@faithencouraged.org. I look forward to seeing you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless you.